Hello, beautiful stars of this Patreon community, of this beautiful constellation, so that we can drink from the wisdom of the stars. So I sat down today with my cards from my astrological oracle deck. Yes, I separated them from the tarot cards because since the new moon in Aquarius on the 21st of January, I was sensing that they needed a little bit more room to speak for their own. And I feel like there is a very clear message, although the cards were a little bit shy in the beginning, I have to admit. And I feel like it's normal when you're using a new deck or a fairly new deck, at least on their own, because I've been using this deck, this astrological oracle deck, blended with my my tarot deck in the collective readings for YouTube. But I felt like this Patreon community was the perfect cozy space and a welcoming environment to let the stars, let the planets, let the cosmos talk through these specific cards. And since the focus here on Patreon is a little bit more towards the astrology side, then I felt like, why not let them speak for themselves in a bigger way than the message that, wants to come for the collective readings on YouTube. And since here we have a smaller group also, I feel like this might be, a little bit more expensive or a little bit more out there, if you will, in terms of how the skies are communicating with us and how they want us to enter a new realm of understanding this galactic community, this universal understanding or mindset or perception of reality. And I feel like this expansive mentality is exactly what is being pointed at with this full moon in Leo, because this is, a full moon is like this moment of peak of illumination. So it's when we have like this brightest moon in the night sky, and actually the moon card is here. So it's emphasizing, and the Leo card is also here. And there's a lot of things that, I am going to dive into to decipher this message for you. Because I feel like there is this expansion of consciousness, expansion of vision, expansion of knowledge that wants to come very, very powerfully with this full moon, because we're beginning with the Jupiter. So Jupiter is all about growth and expansion and enlarging your point of view, going to uncharted territories, right? It's the ruler of Sagittarius. So it's all about the adventure of the unknown, of the newness, of everything that, it's about to be revealed. It's about to be learned. And I feel like this is, in a sense, talking also about this expansion of the consciousness, but because Jupiter right now is in Aries and it's about to make a conjunction with Chiron, there is, and it's also, Aries being a fire sign, just as much as Leo is, right? The full moon in Leo is activating this fire, which is also coming through here. But there's something about this Jupiter becoming very, very close to Chiron, the wounded healer. There's something about the potency, the power to unveil something from our deepest wounds. It's like the point of biggest fragility or vulnerability is actually the source of biggest expansion. And because also Jupiter in Aries is making a trine to this full moon in Leo, Leo being the next card, this is talking about this trine. The trine trines are an aspect in astrology, and when we talk about aspects in astrology, we're talking about the conversation between planets, right? Because planets are distributed in this 360-degree mandala, and the degrees that they are walking through each sign, they create geometrical patterns, and these patterns are drawing lines, drawing connections of communication and interaction between planets. So this is how I like to see the aspects, right? The conversations between planets. And so reminding that the first thing that is showing up here is this growth, this process of, perhaps it's like this growth spurt, right? Or something that is like wanting to break through, because this Jupiter, which is in Aries right now as I'm recording this, is making a trine to the moon, and it's not exact, but it's still very close that we can consider a trine, is trining the moon that is in Leo. There's something about the potential that is hidden within our individuality, because Leo talks about the individual, the personality self, the structure that if it's driven by the ego, then it's going to be egocentric. But if it's centered in the heart, which is actually what this next card is talking about, which is Vesta. This is an asteroid that has this feminine archetype that is close to home, is close to the fire. It's like the fire is the center of the home, right? And this fire is the heart. So the courage that just bursts from the heart of Leo is the thing that creates courage, creates this impulse, creates this desire, right? What is moving us to act upon this growth? Or it feels actually like not, it's almost like this natural coming home type of sensation. So, but it's like it's growing, right? It's breaking through. It's like this, what is the name? The spark, right? It's like the first spark, the spark that creates fire, but it's being generated within your heart because it wants to expand, it wants to grow. And that is like, you see here how we have like, there's also this other word that I'm not too familiar with in English, hearth, which I feel like symbolizes very, very well this image. It's like there is this, it's the cavity here is talking about the receptivity, the place in which the fire will be held, will be nurtured, will be kept alive, right? And this is like, perhaps is a trait, is a quality, is a skill, is an ability that you have and we have, you know, as, and you know, the word that I'm just receiving right now is as star seeds, is to nurture this spark, is to allow it to grow within our hearts, because there is this growth, this expansion, this our minds, our hearts expanding, our consciousness expanding. Yeah, and I want to correct that. Is more than just the mind growing. It's actually the heart expanding, and so much that it's actually, you know, altering, creating, it's like influencing the mind, right? It's like if it was to be the other way around, the mind influencing the heart, which I feel like, you know, it's what we have been seeing, right, for so many centuries in humanity. It's like now time for the heart, because Leo is led by the heart. It's time for the heart to express itself, to be nourished, to be expressive, to be it's interesting because as much as this was talking about the container for the fire, it's actually talking about the it's like a sacred place where this fire is always kept alive. And I feel like this is what needs to be known, right? Jupiter also talks about philosophy and principles and ideas that are now understood in a larger concept, and as a larger concept, as a more expansive point of view. And so I feel like it's within us, each individual here alive on earth, to nurture this fire within your hearts, especially because I feel like there's something that is very, what is the word? It's like, when somebody smiles and you just feel like smiling too, or somebody is like just feeling so sleepy that you feel sleepy too. Okay, so I'm going to explain to you. This is the Descendant card. Let me show you. I don't know if you'll be able to see. Okay, so there are four significant points in the astrological chart. Everyone has it, right? It's the ascendant, the IC, the descendant, and the midheaven. So this is representing the descendant, which opens up the 7th house. So I would really, really recommend that you would look for where the Leo energy is in your birth chart. And, if it is in the 7th house, then it's extremely significant, I would say, because it's highlighting this area of partnerships and close connections and intimate relationships, because this is talking about the nourishment that comes from self, right? Self acknowledging your power, the power of your heart, but your heart being so expansive, wanting to grow, wanting to express the truth of its own core, right? To the other, to a significant other, to a very important person in your life that is your mirror, that is the person that bounces this energy back and forth. And I feel like the moment that you are honest and compassionate and loving and spontaneous and just very natural, right? Expressing your love naturally, expressing your creativity in a very natural way, it's nurturing this fire because it's not containing within yourself. It's actually sharing it with somebody else that wants to feel this warmth, wants to be included in this, hearth of your heart, of your home, of your life. And I feel like this is screaming to me generosity. The moment that your heart is so expanded and so nourished, it's like you cannot contain yourself, but just want to share your heart, share your love, share your ideas, share your time, your space, your creativity with somebody else. And I feel like this is exactly what is needed. And this is what this full moon is bringing, because the moon card is here. And so it's emphasizing the fact that now that this moon is just huge, right? It's like bright as this lighthouse in the night sky. So it's being lit up in a sense, in a way that everything in ourselves, and this could come in a very expressive, creative, artistic, very free-flowing inspiration that, Leo as this, it's interesting, the word that is coming through with Leo is drama queen or drama king, or, it's like, but use this drama as a way to express all of your emotions, all of your sensations, all that is just becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, that wants to just explode in a sense, right? And this could be, as acting, right? Acting skills, right? As in like a play, but it doesn't necessarily be that way. It could be just like your ability to dive into creative projects and express your self-desire, your it's like the dream that is being nurtured in your heart that now is, it's like it's bursting through and wanting to be shared with a significant other in a way that it's like your emotions are going to be a lot more palpable, a lot more tangible, a lot more felt. So this is where the message takes a little bit of a turn, because I feel like as much as, the first cards until the moon were very clearly shining a very big light in this fiery energy of Leo and Jupiter in Aries, and this beautiful trine, which is this favorable conversation between, you know, the planet of expansion and the moon, which is this luminaire that just, you know, talks about all of the waters in our bodies and, you know, the emotions that want to be expressed and not contained. But still, there is this sacred container that wants to keep this fire alive, right? That wants to keep, this is coming through as like soul animation, right? What animates your body, what animates your beingness. So keeping this alive and very much in check, right? It's like always, that's the thing. It's like, it's not selfish. It's talking about looking after yourself in a healthy way, that when you show up in front of another in a relationship, you are not egocentric, you're not selfish, but rather you are exuding your own uniqueness, your own, it's like the power of you being you, right? This unique individual, and nurturing this heart of yours, this hearth, in a way that it has a lot to give, right? A lot to give, because it wants to share, right? Your heart wants to be shared. Your heart wants to share all of the love that you have flowing within the waters of your beingness. And so this moon was talking about something that is actually closer to us than we think, because the next card being the constellation of Orion, right? Orion's belt. You see here how there is like these three significant stars that are aligned in the center. This is talking also about the center of the home, the center of the heart. When it's aligned, and it's interesting because being three, it's talking about this divine trinity, right? Of spirit, soul, and body. And that's the reason why also here it's talking about self and the other, right? So individual and collective. So because there's something very big, or very, how do I explain this? It's very out there. It's like a cosmic type of intelligence that is lined up. The cosmos is aligned, right? It seems like the constellations, they know the order. They know, it's like there is a certain order in the universe that feels like everything is aligned. Although, sorry about the noise. Although there is something also about this story that I heard Matthias and Stefano talk about, but I have no pre-birth memory of it, or I don't have, you know, the specifics about the Orion War that, you know, took place many light years ago. That is something that, you know, in a sense, changed, I want to say, the course of the earth. Because from what I know, and maybe you have more information than I do, or maybe, you know, we can do this research together and we can exchange information in the comments here. But there's something about the war that took place in the Orion constellation that was exactly the reason why the earth was suitable as, you know, this place for a new humanity, for a new way of, you know, expanding consciousness and keeping, you know, this universe in harmony and in peace. Because, okay, so because of the alignment, right? There's something that perhaps was in disharmony or disalignment about the individual and the collective, right? So maybe there was, and, you know, we can see this clearly, right, out there, about this selfishness, about, you know, this what is the word? Greed, right? Greed for individuals to become more powerful and more like in control, right? So I feel like what is here expanding really, which seems to be expanding, especially among people that, seem to be in the same vibration, in the same high vibration, is that the core of the heart is now expanding to the point that is a lot more truthful and in tune and aligned with the impact that one has to another, right? And because of that, there is this alignment that wants to come, that maybe is coming through also with this full moon in Leo, that is a lot closer to us, meaning something that, yes, is like this galactic theme that, apparently is very, very, very far away from us. But actually, when we talk about our emotions, when we talk about our relationships, when we talk about our projects, our ideas, our creations, actually, it's a lot more closer to us, right? It's like the moon brings these universal topics, perspectives, narratives, impacts closer to us. And I feel like this is because there's also, the pair of cards that is ending this reading actually is just something that is because they came together. And let me show you already. We have Uranus and Saturn. And, since 2020, actually, the end of 2020, when Saturn entered Aquarius in the summer solstice here for the southern hemisphere and the winter solstice for the northern hemisphere, on the 21st of December 2020, we had this conjunction actually between Jupiter and Saturn in the 0 degree of Aquarius. And it's beautiful because since then, Jupiter has been moving through the signs with a lot more speed than Saturn, and they have a very contrasting energy because Jupiter is the expansion while the Saturn energy is the contraction, is the control, is the hierarchy, is the time moving in a slower pace than this, right? If we think of Jupiter being this the ruler for Sagittarius, and Sagittarius being the centaur that just lets go of this of the, not the sword, what is the name, the arrow. It's like it's traveling in the speed of light, and Saturn is traveling in the speed of Earth, right? Also, Saturn being the ruler of Capricorn, but also being the ancient ruler of Aquarius. So it seems like it's all connected because Saturn right now, it's just ending its passage through Aquarius, and in March it's going to enter a new territory, which is the territory of Pisces. And there's something about this intense connection that has been undergoing between Uranus in Taurus and Saturn in Aquarius since the end of 2020, all the way through 2021, all the way through 2022. And now that Saturn is about to move outside of Aquarius, now this tension, the challenge between these two planets, right? And Uranus being this, the modern ruler of Aquarius, it's like this battle, that's the thing, right? It's like this war, right, is a lot more closer to us, right? Because this is the message of the moon coming before this Orion's belt card, because something that seemed very far away, it's actually closer and closer and closer. And not only, in this cosmic understanding of, the place of Earth, in this general understanding of what life is, what reality is, but also in our individual lives, as I said, right, with the closer people that we have in our lives, but also in a collective sense, right? Because it's like we are part of the collective, and when we understand that, that's when we can, share the truth of our heart without the selfishness, without the greed, without without thinking that, you know, whatever we do, it's just for us. It's actually for the other, right? And for the whole. And so this bigger dynamic that has been undergoing, you know, since 2020, it's actually talking about the true rulers of Aquarius with very different characteristics and very different approaches to the collective, right? To how humanity is sensing all of this upheaval, because Uranus has this rebelliousness, this revolutionary spirit, right? Uranus is the one that is tilted almost, you know, to the side, that is very different from any other planet. So that's why it's the eccentric one, is the one that brings the newness, brings everything that is innovative, right? It's not something that is following the norms, which is the representation of Saturn, right? And Saturn wants to keep things as they were, wants to keep this hierarchy very ordered, right? Wants to keep things in check, but also with this top-down structure, whereas Uranus wants to break all of the rules. So we've been seeing this challenge, this it's the breakthrough, right? It's the breakthrough since these two came together in December 2020, Jupiter and Saturn. And so now that this Jupiter is trining this full moon, in Leo, it seems like we're coming to a head in terms of, you know, what is going to be the outcome, what is going to be the alignment of this tension, of this challenge, of everything that we have been living in an individual way, but also in a collective way that talks about, you know, structures and, you know, this process of restructuring, because we want to expand and expand not only, you know, from something that we've known, but actually expand from something that we haven't known, expand from the unknown, from the thing that is bringing it's interesting because it's almost like it's the word hasn't yet formed, right? It's the sensation that I have. It's like this is the alphabet, this is the language that we tend to speak, this is the order that we have here on planet Earth. Uranus is bringing a new language. It's almost like a formless language. It's like the language of the heart, in a sense. It's a language that is going to keep this fire burning in our hearts, right? Keep this hearth alive and centered. And, you know, it's like the source of new inspiration. It's like this is what Uranus is bringing, right? This, the change that is, you know, coming through the breeze, that is, it's been coming, right? It's been in conversation, right? It's like this constant dialogue that we have been seeing since 2020 in an individual level and a collective level. And I feel like a new order is about, oh, this is so interesting. The bottom of the deck, we have Virgo, and Virgo is coming through as Mother Earth, Mother Gaia, where everything that we're talking about is happening, and how, you know, this change in power, change in the mindset, change in, you know, the hearts of the individuals that make this collective humanity grow, right? And keep on growing. This is talking about a new order, right? Because Virgo is a very orderly sign. It's, you know, as much as Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, which is also an earth sign, this is a more rigid structure, one that doesn't want to change, whereas Virgo is like, it's very meticulous and very precise, but also very organic and very healing, right? It's like healing the structure that was, yes, following a certain order, but now that Uranus is here and it's changing the rules, it's like a new order wants to rule upon the earth, or wants to be creating the new earth. And underneath that, we have the Pleiadians, the Pleiades. It's so interesting because, you know, I know very little also about the Pleiades, but I'm sure that, you know, you've seen somebody, you know, channeling the Pleiadians, and, you know, I've seen Bracha Goldsmith. I don't even know if that's the right way to pronounce her name. Bracha, the astrologer, and she is amazing, and she channels the Pleiadians. And so I feel like there's something about the new order that perhaps it's being dictated, right? It's like the new rules, let's say, or the new principles. Yeah, that's the thing, right? The new knowledge that is coming from elsewhere, it's being channeled by, you know, beings from the cosmos. And that's the reason why things that were so distant, so far away, are actually becoming closer and closer and closer, because it's the approximation, in a sense, of something that, you know, is supposed to recreate Earth, life on Earth, or recreate the sense of how we live here on Earth in integration with the Earth, right? In harmony with the Earth, aligned with the Earth. So, yeah, okay, so like I do on YouTube, what I thought about, you know, ending this reading, because it's going to be just a one-part reading, right? There's not going to be an extended for this. But I thought, why not pick one of the astrology runes, since we are talking about, you know, the astrological oracle deck. Then, you know, I feel like the astrological runes are also very appropriate to end this message. So let's see what wants to come as a final guidance for this incredible first reading here for you, my patrons, my beautiful stars in this constellation. Yeah, so let's see. Oh, okay, interesting. So we have Mercury, and actually what I heard with this is open your ears, right? It's interesting because Mercury, it's all about communication. It's about words. It's about the new language that I was just talking about, right? It feels like this rewriting of the structure, of the rules, of the mindset of how life on Earth is organized or is experienced. It's wanting to talk about the language that is still formless, but the more that we think about, the more that we're going to receive, and the more that we're going to speak it. It seems like, okay, so remember when I was talking about here with the Pleiades, people who channel, right? Channelers. And also, you know, Virgo is ruled by Mercury. There's something about the new earth, the new mindset, the new routine, the new way to live here on earth that is being spoken through words that are coming from elsewhere, right? Which is, you know, the new language, the new rules, the new structure, the new order, the new way of understanding how we perceive ourselves here in the planet, but also of somewhere else, right? Of coming, you know, as beings that are coming from the stars. So I feel like there's a lot that is wanting to expand, yes, in our hearts, as I said, but also in our minds and in our language and in our words. And perhaps we haven't yet received the full message as I'm thinking right now, but I feel like the more that we think about it, the more room we'll make in our minds to open ourselves for that. So actually, it makes me wonder, because I have been, you know, thinking about channeling a lot, and in a way, I feel like the readings are that, but I know that it's myself, right? And I feel like there is going to be a shift in my own body, to be honest. And this is a very personal thing that I'm sharing with you. But since we are here in this cozy space, I feel like, you know, just sharing, because this is also what this is about, right? The Leo with the other, right? And I feel like, you know, in a sense, you are providing me also, and I'm providing you perhaps this cozy hearth where we can gather around and sit around the fire here and exchange thoughts and exchange perceptions, exchange experiences. And I feel like, as a confession, as a sensation that I have, and something that is my desire that I would love to do, is to channel. And I feel like it's a process. I feel like it's this unveiling, this, yeah, I don't know, it's still something to be seen. So I wonder, and I have this strong intuition that yes, this space here in the Patreon community is going to be perhaps, the place where I'm going to feel more comfortable to be the crazy being that I feel already that I am. This eccentric voice that sometimes I feel like wants to come through, and I feel myself containing it, right? I don't know if it's because on YouTube I feel like I'm very, very exposed. But here I feel like I have this openness, and that I can open my heart and I can allow maybe other beings at some point, who knows, to speak through me. I know that whenever I sit down to record any reading, I open myself to, to just be the channel for whatever message to come through in a most open way, in the most helpful way, in the most loving way, for the highest good of anyone that is watching this video or any video. So this is my intention with this also. So it's interesting because I feel like it's big, but it's like it's starting in a very gentle and generous way, right? As we saw. So I truly hope that this was helpful or insightful in any way possible. May you have a wonderful full moon in Leo, and thank you so, so much once again for being here. It truly makes my heart smile and sing and just want to hug each and every one of you. So thank you so, so much for being here, shining your beautiful light. And please do share your beautiful experiences, your thoughts on the comments. I would love to read. Okay, so have a beautiful full moon. Bye.